Hey, it's Monday and it's Airfix and Chill. Good evening, everybody in the world of scale modeling that likes to come and watch us chat, not chat shit, but just chat about scale modeling. Thank you all for joining me tonight. It's our 100th episode. Who would have thought that me? I think you were one of the original ones, James. Who was one of the original ones? There was quite
I can't remember.
a couple, didn't we? Yeah. And I just set this up. And we just started chatting about scale modelling, and it's just grown.
Oh, model kit stuff wasn't he?
What model kit stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I say, happy birthday, Jason.
Yeah, happy birthday. We started chatting about scale modelling, and I came up with the title Airfix and Chill because somebody said said to me, it's either Netflix or chill or make a model. And I said, and that's why I came up with the name, Airfix and Chill. It was quite funny. But I was always worried that Airfix would say, "Nah, take that down. We don't want to be associated," But in fact, they've embraced it because, But as I said, it's not just about Airfix. It's just a play on words from Netflix and Chill. But so 100 episodes in, and I thought tonight with everybody here. I know Nigel will come in probably later. Hopefully, Sully will pop in as well. To talk about what has changed in your scale modeling, whether it's technique, opinion, how you build, what you build, scale, blah, blah, blah. What has changed for you? Not necessarily, it can be for the worst, I don't know. But what has changed for you in the past 2 years? Comments in the chat as well. If you want to pop in, put question in capitals or QQQ and just ask a question or comment. And we'll talk about what's changed in the last 2 years. And I'll tell you what, I want to start with Lexi. What's changed for you in the last 2 years for scale modeling? She's got to turn her mic on. Is she gone quiet? Is your mic on, Lexi?
Hi. Sorry.
There we go. Ray.
I was on the wrong speaker. On the wrong microphone even. I think for me personally, I went from someone who, well, I'm still a novice, obviously, but I branded myself as a novice who just did brush painting, who just did sort of, I don't know, cheaper kits. And I've sort of branched out a lot more to just try and do whatever I feel like and take more risks and not let fear of doing something wrong stop you from doing a kit. Because I think that's like the most important skill you can develop as a modeler is just not being scared of doing things wrong. So I think for me over like the last 2 years, particularly since sort of joining this, has been sort of taking more risks. But over the 2 years as a whole with the community, I think it's been nice seeing more women and queer people getting involved in model making as well, because it's been very, it's not necessarily been the most diverse community in the past, but it's definitely changed for the better. And that's been really lovely to see that change over time as well.
Fantastic. And you're now airbrushing, aren't you?
Yeah, so I've I mean this isn't finished, but this was like that was somewhere.
And that's one that that's one that you've airbrushed.
Yeah, it needs weathering and finishing, but this is in progress. But I've done quite a few, and getting advice from other people like Fenris helped me do this and do like the pre-shading on it and get a really nice finish on it. So yeah,
brilliant, fantastic. Luke, let's move over to you, mate. What have you changed, or like anything that's changed for you in scale modeling over the past 2 years?
There's been some monumental changes really in the last 3 years, but as far as the hobby goes, so we started the club. That's been within the last 2 years. That's a massive change. That is, what's the word? It's like opened my eyes really to a whole different aspect of the hobby, because it's not an easy thing to do to run a club. And because we run virtually, then or predominantly virtually, then it's a whole new world, really. And that's had good and bad. We're at a point now where it's all good, but it's been a bumpy road to get there. But there's videos on the channel about that. But as far as the actual hobby itself goes, in the last 2 years, predominantly now I use lacquer paints, where I was always an acrylic paint modeler, really, but predominantly now it's lacquer. Airfix, I'd never touched Airfix kits, never touched them up until about probably 18 months ago was when I built my first Airfix kit of the newer stuff. So now I think the last 3 kits I've built have been Airfix. So that's definitely changed my opinion of Airfix, definitely. So it's not something 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I would have just discounted them as a manufacturer. I wouldn't have even entertained them as a manufacturer, whereas now that's changed. The paints have changed, predominantly lacquer, as I said. And I think just that constant or willingness to learn, that's always been there. But when you start to speak to different people who approach the hobby in different ways, you start to learn more. Definitely.
Oh, definitely.
And I think that's, for me, that's a benefit of the hobby, because you're never going to know everything.
Exactly.
Different genres, different scales. I'm finding myself more and more drawn now to smaller scales, which I never thought would happen. I never thought that would happen. Currently I'm building a 72nd scale F16. Like, I never thought that would happen. 48 was as low as I'd go. So that's changed, definitely. 2 years on, as I say, it's been a bumpy road, but now it's all good. And going into year 3, if you like, which we sort of Telford to Telford is our year, really. I think year 3's only got positive stuff to come.
Fantastic.
Now we've weeded out all the shit. No, I shouldn't.
Brilliant. Right, I was going to go through some of the comments quickly, because we've had some. Sully's jumped in and said, "Happy 100th episode. Sorry I can't be there." I'm pretty sure you can come in, Sully. If you can't, I understand, mate. I understand. Alex there. Hi, and welcome to the centenary. Yeah. Dave Market says, "I feel that old." That's good. David Barber said, "Really looking forward to Monday evenings with Airfix and Chill." Fair play, mate. It's nice to have you on board. Hi, guys. Hi, Moz. I'm building an old Airfix Lancaster B3 kit number 08002. Any information on the kit, but I believe it's from 1996 with black plastic. Email one of us, guys, and we can go through that with you. But I always recommend ScaleMates. Go on to ScaleMates and type in Lancaster, and it will tell you the full history of these kits, including if they've been borrowed, pinched, and used by other manufacturers. And also, don't forget that there are people who build these kits and then post them as their builds. You can go in and see pictures of these kits built. I think it's an invaluable tool, and it's not just about trying to find out the age of a kit. There are reviews on there, etc. It's really, really good. Nose Modern Bench. I'll be with you guys soon. Currently at the pub with a mate. Fair enough, mate. Graham Coxon. Since I discovered all the content on YouTube, it has been a big difference on how I approach my scale modeling. And Don't Get Drunk, Nige. And Philip Pascoe saying, "I returned to the hobby 2 years ago after 41 years. Carried on from where I left off. 172 aircraft. Brush painted, and that was it. I am now trying airbrushing, weathering, and 148 scale." I can assure you that once you build your first 148, you realize how small the 172nd scale kit is. Even though the jump is minute, really. You got 144 to 172, so you doubled in size, but that little extra gives you a lot more scope for detail and scratch building and really get like I say,
Well,
you know, 80%.
Conversely, 135th to 148th is a bit of a shocking armour.
Yeah, it is
Yes,
definitely.
that's true, James.
Davros Halfbeard, evening everyone, happy 100th show. Thank you very much. Michael Myers, congrats to Moz and everyone in the group on 100 episodes and many more. Hopefully, I don't know what we do on a Monday without the other than drink and build models. Fair enough. And we do like to feel that it is part of your Monday night routine. You know, you first day back at work, and we hope we inject some sort of humor and info and this is a bit of banter as well. Graham Coxon, since I discovered all the content for modelers on YouTube, this has certainly changed my approach to scale modeling. Fair play. That's some really good comments there. Thank you so much for leaving a comment. Right, where are we to? Let's get rid of that one. And I'll do it again later on. We'll go back to the chat. Alex, you've had quite a good change since you started doing Airfix and Chill, haven't you? Crumbs.
Yep. Positives and negatives. I'm a lot poorer now than I was 2 years ago. That's not really got anything to do with modelling. Of course, didn't have the channel 2 years ago. It was started in 2022. Now pushing 22, well, just gone over 22,500 subscribers, which is great. And I think the community aspect for me is a huge change. So I hadn't really, modelling was it's always quite a personal thing, but it'd always been a solitary thing since I'd been to like my last physical model club, which was in the 20th century. So I hadn't had a 21st century social experience until, this group of reprobates around me, and the extended community, which is fantastic. And seeing the same people come to live streams and comment on videos and stuff is great. And meeting them at shows and putting faces to names, that's a great aspect of the hobby that I just hadn't considered really 2 years ago. It wasn't something I had in mind when I started the channel. So that side has been fantastic. Like Luke, I've had some similar things in terms of changes with lacquer paints, which is my go-to now for starting a model. I've actually gone the opposite way to Luke, though, in terms of scale. I used to be 72nd. One of the first kits I did a couple of years ago was the FX 124 Spitfire, which is, I think, one of the largest aircraft scales I've ever done.
Yeah.
But it was similar to Luke in that prior to starting the channel, I discounted Airfix as a manufacturer. My last experience was back in the late 90s, early 2000s, when they weren't doing great stuff. They kind of had that little hiatus where they got things like the TSR2 and the Lightning and stuff, and then kind of fell apart. So rediscovering Airfix and what Airfix have been redoing, really hoping for the next 6 months, year, that Revell start to do that as well. Now they seem to be looking at that. ICM, I think, is the other big thing for me about how ICM have kind of exploded onto the scene, really, in terms of the quality they're putting out, the volume they're putting out. They're a very accessible company. And I think that accessibility to companies is a big difference as well. So I think Airfix started it really with their social engagement, with yourself, Moss, with the was it the Airfix factory day at the Spitfire, the Sea King and all that. They've kind of really pioneered reaching out to content creators, to the community as a whole, which we've not really ever seen before. So, before 2 years ago, that didn't really happen. So, there's been some big changes. In terms of my modeling, actually, I've kind of gone, I don't want to say backwards, but I've done more out-of-the-box builds since I've had the channel than I've done probably the entirety of my modeling before. So, because I always used to be, a bit of a detailer, a tinkerer, scratch builder, always adding to the stuff. Whereas since the channel, I've done very little of that. Actually, it's quite pleasurable just to do an out-of-the-box build to see what manufacturers give. I think part of that is because actually manufacturers give us a lot more than they used to. So a lot of positive things, I think.
Fair play. Yeah, I'm going to come back on one of those points because my biggest change is how I've seen other model manufacturers. Most definitely. John Alec, what about you, my friend? What's happened for you in the last 2 years when it comes to scale modeling? Any new techniques, anything different that you do when you're scale modeling?
I think the biggest thing for me is the quality of kit. So up until a couple years ago, maybe if I bought a Hasegawa kit, I was kind of splurging a little bit, and I don't think I had bought a kit that was like more than maybe $45, $50, right? And since since joining Airfix and Chill, in the last couple of years, I started buying new, high quality, expensive kit. And I think that was kind of the first one that I did was the 124th Airfix Spitfire. That kind of cut my teeth. And now that's where I've gone is if I'm looking, for a new model or a new build or something, I'm going to be looking for something that's new, that's high quality, price. So I think for me, that's the biggest transition is going from, Tamiya toolings from, the 70s, 80s, and maybe 90s to new tools from Airfix, ICM, border models. Yeah, that's the biggest change for me, I think.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Fair play, mate. Fair play. James, to boldly go. What anything you've changed in the last 2 years since you were doing Airfix and Chill?
Right. Well, I do figures.
Yeah.
Do a lot of camouflage on the armor and whatever else. And obviously, I've done my first ICM kit, first mini art kit, and my first TACOM kit.
Yeah.
Which is a massive, great gun. But yeah, I've done that. But obviously, when I've done Airfix kits, it's been like there's some of them are like Lego. This quality control just drives me up the wall.
Yeah.
Obviously, paint wise, I was using lacquers before it. I'm still using lacquers now.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact I'm using Outlaw.
Fair enough. Let's go back through some comments before I come to you, John. Let me just go back here because I keep starring them. So you will, if I say just popped in to say hi, congrats on 100. Well done indeed. Thanks, Steve T. David Smart, hi guys. Quick question. I've just completed a self-challenge. What if project models were good, but the decals were total disaster? How long do decals last if not used for a while, at least to crumble? Well, anything Nova will crumble on you. Yeah, that's talking.
Naturals will disintegrate as well.
Yeah, there's a lot that you have to look at them. If it's not, it's the paper they're printed on is the problem. There was a lot of acid in the paper. I had a kit the other day, and the decals were absolutely fine, and it was, I think, if I'm right, it was Tamiya kit. I think at the end of the day, there are products in the market like Michael Industries. They do decal solutions, which is what Luke's got on his desk there.
Microfilm. Don't get that mixed up with micro set.
No, don't get them mixed up. No, so
it's not.
You can try. It's not a fix all.
No,
but if you've got decals that are shot,
you
can try coating them with this stuff. Liquid decal film. It's marketed to restore old decals, or that's one of the things it's marketed for. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you've lost nothing by trying it, have you? Because if the decals are shot, if it works, great. If they're shot and it doesn't work, you've still got shot decals, haven't you?
And as I said, you can always buy fresh decal sheets. There's not many. I've seen planes with just the roundels of the US Army Air Force on, if you know what I mean. They haven't bothered anything else. Long as it's American because it's got the star on it, you're absolutely fine. Any tips on accessories for 1/72 scale AVF World War II? I mean, ropes, cables, boxes, bags, netting, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3D
So
Gizmos
for,
doing
for
some.
rope and cables, if you look at a company called Ropes in Scale, they're really, really good. They're not the cheapest, but they're really, really good. So if you look on the front of that lifeboat there, that rope is from them. They do lots. It's not going to focus, but it's an actual rope. Various scales, various colours. They're really, really good.
Fair enough.
Really
Fair
good.
enough. I hope that answers your question. There are, if you go looking on eBay, there's loads of 3D print now available. Been monitored for just over a year after a 30-year break. Well, welcome back, Howard, and thanks for finding us. After a 40-year hiatus, I've only been back to modeling for a year. The best part is the genuine people that are in the hobby and the amount of information they are willing to give. Exactly. We wouldn't be here where we are if it weren't for the past generations who have passed on that knowledge on to us. And that's an internal grateful, because if you don't pass on this information, you know, the hobby won't survive, I don't suppose, you know. But then again, you know, it's like everything. You start off by using the Airfix cement or the Humble cement in a starter set, and then and then you move on to your tamiya. As soon as you find tamiya extra thin, and then all the other brands, it's a game changer. Absolutely. What's the take on Border's 135th aircraft? We already have 148, 132nd, 124. Do we need another aircraft scale? We'll talk about that when Nigel comes back. All right, is that all right? Because I think he's got good knowledge on that. Because
if he makes it back from the pub intact,
he's coherent.
Yeah. Alex, you think you hang out with reprobates because you haven't seen my live? Said Got Fuels.
Yes.
I've got a couple of Americans that want to come on to Airfix and Chill, so we'll get them on one week, and it won't be next week because I'm away next Monday. But we'll try and organise an Airfix and Chill or something. But I'm away next Monday because I'm going to see Tim Peake, the astronaut, at I can't wait. I'm so I bought the tickets months and months ago, so I guess see an astronaut, evening, gents. Happy 100th episode. Where has the time gone? Telling me. The downside to finding all this information is I'm using the wrong paint, wrong glue, wrong plastic, wrong scale, and the wrong chair at my workbench, and it's the wrong workbench. Yeah, I get that. I do get that. Julian Hall, 100% agree with Alex. I wouldn't know any of you lot, panel and in the chat, without the community that is built up around the hobby, and I think life is richer for it. Thank you very much. In 2 years, it's gone from a solitary builder to group building, both real and virtual. Being able to watch how to do something on YouTube is wonderful.
Yep.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Totally get that. That's, I'm afraid of weathering, but I've had the confidence of weathering because of what I see Sully do, to be honest. Yeah. No disrespect to any other scale modeler, but because I've got access to Sully, I feel more confident, and he encourages me to do it, And another one is LPJ models. I would never have thinned paint to 20% of its life until I've seen what LPJ models does with his paints, and that's serious. When it comes to thinning paints, when it comes to Tamiya LP or XF or whatever, was to just fill it up to the rim and leave it alone. You know what I mean? I wouldn't go any further than that. I assure you, I wouldn't go any further than that. Evening or happy 100th back to the hobby after a 40-year hiatus, another 40-year hiatus. Picking up loads of hints from watching your various channels. Thank you, David. ACF Nugget, wishing everyone on a relaxing evening and congratulations on 100 episodes of Airfix and Chill. Thank you. Another Darren Cook here. Congratulations on 100. Huge milestone. Here's to 100 more. I don't think we'll be kicked off by then, I reckon. It's like every week it's getting harder to think of a topic, isn't it? Yeah. We're starting to recycle stuff now. Question: is increased quality of kits being driven by the increased competition or by the knowledge that manufacturers will be called out on YouTube if the kit is crap? Oh,
They're kind of the same thing in
Yeah.
respect, because if the kit is called out as being bad, it won't sell, and then other people will. So that feeds into the competition piece.
Yeah.
I think
But there's a
think
lot more competition as
some
well.
of it as well is the technology or advances in technology that are now available to manufacturers. It's never going to stop. Hopefully, that as technology increases and the quality of the product that we get as modelers is only going to get better. You know, you start looking at things like slide molding and all that stuff that even 3 years ago was almost unheard of, or in the real sort of top end kits, whereas now it's becoming more and more commonplace. So I think it's a culmination of all factors, really, that and long may that continue, because for us as consumers, the products, then we can only be happy about it, can't we?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say I found it fascinating when I went to one of the Airfix days that they don't like using side molding because it's the first point of failure on a tooling.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see it, say in 25, 30 years time, when some of these kits that have the side molding and they're now looking at making them into vintage classics. Do you know what I mean? Would the tooling be good enough for vintage classics because of
But that's like anything, isn't it? When something is in its relative infancy, then the failure rate is high. I mean, you look at the explosion of 3D printing over the last decade.
Yeah.
And the quality now of, say, resin 3D printed model kits or accessories in comparison to even 12 months ago is just, they're worlds apart. And in 25 years, maybe we won't even be using injection molding anymore.
Yeah, because if you think about think of some of the Airfix vintage classics, right? Like 1950s, 1960s technology. That technology didn't change fundamentally up until the 21st century. You know, you were limited by the skill of the designers, the draftsmen that measured everything. And as we know, sometimes they didn't get it right. The Auster-Antarctic isn't symmetrical, you know. And the skill of the people making the actual stainless steel molds and carving those, because there wasn't computer-aided machining then.
No.
And now you can do it. You can do it all on CAD, and then you can feed that CAD information into a computer-controlled machine that will produce that precisely. So that quantum change, you know, before it was always, what's the individual skill? How much is this company willing to invest in it? And now it's digital, so it's different. But you can translate that skill directly to what the customer receives. And so it's really about how that evolves now, and how good are those designers and things in CAD? How good are the people at translating it? Communication lines. Then you start to get into things like Airfix struggle with quality control, you know. So these are the points that are continuously now being honed. So you get these big technology shifts, and then how that technology is utilized. Like Luke said, you know, slide molding has been around for about 25 years. You know, the turn of the century, people like Dragon and, you know, Trumpeter and these companies were just starting to come out, started using some slide molding technology. And now it's much more accessible. And I'm not sure that those companies are thinking about, you know, will this be okay in 25 years? Because in 25 years, it may be completely obsolete.
That's a fair shout. That is a fair shout. We're going back through the comments here. One of the big changes for me is using Aftermarket, and that is a big challenge, you know. Since I retired, YouTube has been my life. This is Keith, to learning new techniques and being able to watch how to do new things and see some amazing work. Jason is one of the largest changes in the hobby in the last 2 years has been the quality of 3D printing aftermarket available, and it is going to be massive. Definitely, I get that. Part of my Monday night routine, a lot has changed for me in the hobby. First airbrush build using photo-etched, different manufacturers, resin and 3D printed stuff, and scale mates. Woof. Scale mates is big for everyone, I guess. Everyone's, it is a big thing, definitely. I've learned, David Markey, knowledge I've learned from all years has helped me with my models. Thank you. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. James Willard, is Luke going to Medway Model Show this year?
Yes. So we're displaying as a club for the entire show, which is 2 days.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I didn't realize there were so many model manufacturers. There's tons, absolutely. And there's more when it's coming onto the 3D resin print, the resin side of it as well. Before I go on to John, Craig says, I returned to modeling when the first COVID lockdown happened. I find streams like yours, Moz, brilliant for getting support to improve my skills. I really enjoy the different styles the channels have. I think that's quite true. There's loads of it. Hi, congrats on the 100th show. Keep them coming. Reaper 55, for me, the biggest advancement over the past 2 years is the availability of canopy masks. Oh, plums, yeah. That's a good shout. That is a good shout. Kits and bits, nice to see you, Tam. Do you think the future of model kits will be that the kit manufacturers design the kit, then make the print files available to download so you can print them yourself? Oof. Yeah, that's a debate to have.
It's tricky. Maybe in the long-term future, I can see that being a thing. I think there's several issues, really. First is the security of those files, because it's like anything, isn't it? Back in the late 80s, early 90s, car stereos had a key code. Well, it didn't take long to figure out you put it in the freezer for half an hour, you don't need a key code. Do you know what I mean? So there's lots of security issues, I guess, from a manufacturer's point of view, in how they can protect the integrity of those files if someone purchases them. That's the first issue. I think the second issue is 3D printing currently, and I can see it still being like that for the next decade almost. The quality of the printer, the quality of the person using the printer and their knowledge around 3D printing, all these things have such a massive impact on the quality of the product coming out of that printer. It's still not there where it is completely plug and play.
Yeah.
There's a lot of knowledge that if you're good at 3D printing, there's a lot of knowledge and there's a lot of failures that have taken place in order for you to get that knowledge. I have no clue about 3D printing. If I want something 3D printed, I speak to one of our admins, Stuart Goodswin, who uses 3D printing as part of his job. So there's not much he doesn't know about 3D printing. And he's got a very good 3D printer. So, but once that's there, the security of the files and the fact it is plug and play pretty much, I don't see any reason why manufacturers wouldn't go down that road. But I think we're a long, long way off from it.
Yeah. There's two main things I think that Luke picked up on there. One is 3D printing isn't a consumer device yet. It's not like a printer that you could just buy, like a Hewlett Packard printer or Canon or whatever, chuck on your bench, plug it in, and you print stuff out. Imagine going back to, if you had to fill tanks with ink individually, it's messy, it smells. Like Luke said, there's a lot of skill in actually producing that. And the other thing on the flip side is injection molded kits are really convenient. So you can go in to a model shop or to Hobbycraft or wherever you buy stuff, or even on the internet, and you can buy something, you buy it online, it might be with you next day or a couple of days, and you've got your kit and it's all done for you, and it's not that much. So if that whole digital thing offered you an advantage, sure, but at the moment it doesn't really offer you any advantage of just buying a really nice kit.
As I said, 3D printing a sprue with little parts and then you've got to glue them together using super glue is not the same as snipping off a piece and then gluing it in with cement. So the thing is, that's what I'm saying, is like with 3D print at the moment, you glue it together, it doesn't become one. But when you're cementing plastic together, it then becomes one thing. Is that a fair assessment on that?
Yeah, you're welding it effectively.
Yeah, welding. Yeah. And I don't think you can do that with 3D resin. There's not a glue out there that will heat up and.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
We really need that
recently
kind of quantum shift in the printing technology that all the 3D printing companies obviously trying to get to, that bit where you don't.
I think an
You
ace.
just put a cartridge in and the thing would work. You know, maybe.
Yeah.
I think Nigel's favourite, one of Nigel's companies, he does the stuff for Anise. He does the STL files.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously in Germany, and so he can go worldwide with them. So, but they do all the individual components.
Yeah, I mean, I've recently just built unfortunately, the company have ceased trading, which is a real shame. A Badger 3D kit, which is all 3D printed resin.
Yeah.
The thing is phenomenal. And the subject matter is very unique. I've now got another one, and I'm glad I got it before they ceased trading, which I'm going to put together, which is a British Army Saxon in 35th scale from Northern Ireland. Well, you tell me another manufacturer that does that, because I can't find one. But it's down to the quality of the print, and it's not. Whereas you look at companies like Accurate Armor, that for years and years and years have used resin, but it's cast resin. It's not 3D printed resin. And I've built their kits, and they're lovely once they're done. However, they're problematic because it's cast resin. So you're introducing that human factor, and as soon as you introduce humans, you introduce mistakes because we're all fallible.
I mean, one thing that 3D printing does open up is for smaller companies. You look, there's been an explosion, especially in Europe, actually, of companies making 3D printed kits, or let's say kits that were originally designed on CAD and printed in 3D and then used as masters for casting, because casting is easier and cheaper. You still get the quality, all that kind of stuff. But there's a huge explosion of those kind of small companies because it's much easier to start up. There aren't the big startup costs. There's also a company called Seocast, which has started producing like a lower cost injection molding route for small companies. So rather than getting limited run injection molding, which is pretty ropey, they use a sort of a mixture of plastic resin. You still have to use cyanoacrylate, but that's again a much lower barrier to entry for smaller companies, which again then allows us as consumers a huge possibility. Maybe we will get a couple of different companies doing Saxons and bishops or whatever obscure one-off that people would like.
I think that's what you have to hope for the best for, really. I don't we'll see. It could, with every technology, it will only get better. But I don't think Airfix and Revell and all that are worried that 3D is going to take their market away. Definitely not. But we'll see. Right. So then, John Parker, what's changed for you in the last 2 years since since Airfix and Chill has been putting out these live videos on a Monday night?
I think one of the major things for me, Luke actually said something a couple of months ago about building your first kits on a tray in front of the television. I remember you saying it, and I remember thinking at the time, Christ, he's talking about me when I was about 7. But Airfix and Chill has enabled us to talk to all the panelists, people who regularly come on the Discord, and just getting information is so much easier now, especially when you're used to talking to people. You don't have this barrier of, oh my God, do I submit an email? It's not like that anymore. Finding information is very easy.
Yeah.
The other thing is something else that Luke touched on a couple of minutes ago with his Saxon. One of the things I've noticed over the last 5 years is the availability of very obscure model subjects that just weren't available 10 years ago. You know,
Yeah.
the mainstream companies would build your average Spitfire, Messerschmitt, Focke-Wulf, Mustang, but they wouldn't go for particular versions of those aircraft. They would just be a P-51B or a D.
Mm.
Whereas now you can get the obscure versions. You can, I mean, armor is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
What is available in armor, and that for me is one of the things that's changed over the last, I would say, 5 years actually, is the availability of the obscure.
Yeah, I get that definitely. Yeah. Right. Fenris has popped on. What's changed for you in the past 2 years, my friends?
Well, actually, I started on Airfix and Chill before I had my first video out. So the biggest thing would be just having a YouTube channel, and all that's kind of come with that, which I think everybody's kind of touched on a lot of the little things that just kind of have added up. But like a big one that I wasn't even thinking about it until like kind of just right before you called on me was I used to not mask my canopies. I would just, paint everything up and then I would hand paint in and everything. And now I think nothing else of just going ahead and, hand masking. Buying third-party components. For the most part, I still avoid it for a lot of things, but like probably in the last 6-7 months or so, I've bought 3 or so different third-party decal sets, which is not something I had done before. So,
and 3D printed. Don't forget 3D printed tracks, Fenris.
Say again.
3D printed tracks.
Yeah. The quick was it quick tracks that I got for the John Alec has them right there. Yep. Yeah, those because and again, I primarily do aircraft, but with armor, I've never really bothered with not, I'm fine with rubber band tracks, but I came across those and I picked them up for the Stug 3 that I built, and now it's like I cannot imagine myself building any armor without picking those up. Like I was always intimidated by the metal ones because those you have to like put them together, put the pins in, it's super involved. But with those 3D printed tracks, they just snap together and then they're fully workable. And they're 3D printed resin, so they take paint perfectly, no issues. Don't have to prime it, don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So,
yeah,
I blame you, Fenris.
You're welcome.
Was it
they're very nice.
Fenris?
Say again?
Was it the Mini Art Stug 3 with the Winterken?
Yes. Yep. That's the one.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've got that kit here.
Tom B says John Alec always seems to have something to hand that is relevant to the convo. He has everything. Finally, we've got Rorex. Rorex, in the last 2 years, what's changed for you, my friend?
For me, what's changed? Yes. To be honest, it's the fault of Kits and Bits, Tam, and of John Alec. And it was more, I was watching a lot of Kits and Bits on Fridays normally, and Wednesdays I think it was in the beginning. And for me it was the normalcy of building, not like night shift and whatever with like the awesome things you can never yourself achieve and stuff like that. And then finally seeing some YouTube videos of John Alec with his marvelous voice, and then asking him if he would ever do a live stream and whatever, and to join us. And he was a little bit reluctant that day, and finally he went on, and that's what made a lot. And you, of course. And for me, it's more like showing that you can still hand paint stuff without being like called on that you don't airbrush, having fun with everything, and helping everybody out, because tips and tricks were, if you have to figure it out yourself, it's like almost impossible. and some people give you advice on doing the canopies. Some other people doing the black below the metal paint if you're doing something like silver or metal color, stuff
Chrome.
like that. The
Yeah.
small stuff that you won't figure out yourself or on a forum or whatever. That's the useful thing of having a live stream, I think.
Fair enough. Kids and Biz is asking, has anyone seen his mojo? Please return it to him. He says ASAP. I haven't finished a model this year. Can I recommend
109?
Yeah, BF 109 starter set. Just buy that.
Starter set, sorry. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
109.
Bits and bits, you'll always find a mojo inside a submarine kit.
Yeah, you will. Yeah. The other one is the Eurofighter from Airfix as a starter. So you see that as a starter set. So no, they don't do it as a starter set now. It's a gift set. But I remember Modeling Weekly saying that he built that. He was struggling a bit, and he built that Eurofighter, and it's a really nice build for to get it done. So
Kits and Bits, he likes a BF 109, so I'd say the new starter set 109 for him because he'd like that.
Yeah. Information is the truest wealth modelers can share amongst themselves. Exactly, the kraut. Fair enough. Daryl Masters is saying I'm just as bad as I got this Avro Shackleton on the bench. All I need is do the canopy remask, clear decal, clear weather, done so much work on interior and last lap. Fair enough, my friend. I think one thing I've learned
Wendy's memorial group build, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think the one thing I've learned is to accept my own limitations. I'm less likely to be able to paint the face on a 1/35th figure than my cats are able to solve a differential equation. That's fine. So 2 years of doing this, lots have changed. I've met some of the most fantastic people in scale modeling. There's been some really, really encouraging, lovely folks. Like I said, and I hold on to those folks, the people on the panel, the people that I meet at scale model shows, people who watch my videos and our channel members who help me financially with the channel. In the last 2 years, I've met so many fabulous people. I've got my people who are negative about me, say things that aren't true, but it's always the folks here that I really care about. My relationship with Airfix, I think I was one of the only YouTubers that was out there doing kit reviews on their vintage classics, and that's because I got excited that these kits that were being re-released in this range were the stuff that I built years ago, and I do have in my stash, but I couldn't build them because the majority of the decals were buggered. And to get a vintage classic with fresh decals and to build them again was great. And I've had, it's been 3 years actually since me and Dale got in contact with each other with Airfix. But I will say that I'm starting to appreciate more, like Alex was saying, of the other manufacturers pushing themselves forward. And actually listening to what some of the scale modelers are saying on YouTube and thinking, actually, we're doing this wrong and trying to get things out. The Revell, I built the Airbus 320 Neo, lovely kit. Really enjoyed building that. I've got that submarine to build that, that's been released this month. Lovely looking kit. And then again, when I bought the first diorama Sherman, I think it was, thinking, this is new. It says new on the box, first diorama, and it was an old Matchbox. But then I was pleased because the actual Matchbox tank is actually a pretty good build.
It's a really good Sherman in that scale.
Yeah, the Matchbox, and it's lasted the test of time. Yeah. And there's not that much flash on it either. And those rubber band tracks that just slot together, and then you don't see where the slot is, Why didn't they keep doing that with those rubber band tracks? yeah, that's how I've seen the last 2 years. I didn't think Airfix and Chill would get so big. I'd never in my wildest dreams think I'd have 22,000 subscribers. And I'm humbled and honoured that people want to watch the stuff I put out. And that said, I do try to give back as much as I can to the community. So, but as I said, it's and I have my own opinions. You know, I've been blasted by some folks saying that I slag Airfix off at model shows and stuff in the past couple of weeks. And I'll say this openly: there's nothing that I've not ever shared at a model show that I've not shared on Airfix and Chill, and I've shared with Airfix or Revell or whoever directly. You know, I'm very open and honest in my opinions, because if that's what hopefully makes you see that I'm genuine. The only problem I've got is that people seem to think that I get sent Airfix kits to review all the time for free. No, I generally buy every Airfix kit, and if they do send it to me as a review for free, I mention it in the video. But I still buy the kit. Still, money is leaving my account, so that's why I've got two. Well, I did have 3 Mark 9 Spitfires, because I bought one came along, I got another one of Airfix. But I gave 2 of them away. Remember, you know, it's and those I sold one, which is the one I bought, and the other one's up there, and one's up in the attic with the rest of my Airfix stash, which I'm steadily
Did you get
going.
those Tigers, Moz?
Pardon?
Did you get those Tigers?
Yeah, I did, mate. Yeah, I did. Bargain of the week, guys. I do wonder whether when we bought them, they were £27 each, right? And I got me, but I was hoping I'd get included in the 1,000. Was it the 100,000 Hornby or 10,000 Hornby points? I wonder if I've got into that because I bought 2, so it's good like that. So, Ms. Modeler, thank you, Moz, for being an inspiration to the modeling community. You've helped me through some difficult times too, and you've always been a beacon of joy and happiness in the modeling community. Have I really? I just think I just like the banter. I just like the banter. Yeah, I do get I get slated, but you know it's I've tried to be as genuine as I can. I do have my own opinions on certain things, but I keep to myself. But my majority of stuff is the fact that what I say on Airfix and Chill, I'm prepared to say to the people that have, you know, that's the way it works. And the thing is also is that even when I say it on Airfix and Chill and say it in my video, I know that scale model companies watch my videos, so they know how I feel. So if I say the same thing in a scale model show, I'm not changing my opinion on it. You know, it's but as I said, I've changed my opinion on ICM, Revell. I still haven't changed my opinion on mini art. I still think photo etch, there should be a choice between photo etch and plastic on a kit. I really do believe that. And I talk to scale modelers a lot, and I was surprised how many do use photo etch, but if the plastic was in the kit, they would use the plastic all the time.
Yeah.
And I think you know, Thunder models do the same. It's nice to have the option of photo etch. But when I talked to a lot of scale modelers, I said, "Oh, is that photo etch?" Yeah, I had to use it. I didn't enjoy it. It was like this. It took me 4 hours to get it right. With plastic, I could have just dabbled on a bit of glue, and away I was gone. And I think, you know,
don't you think using photo etch is down to the tools you need to use it?
Yeah,
a lot of people just make do with what they've got, don't they?
Yeah.
Having those bending tools.
Yeah.
If you don't have that thing that you can slide it under and then, you know, tweak it into shape. And they're not cheap, man. Those PE bending tools are expensive.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with photo etch, I was just looking actually, but it's not to hand. Photo etch tools for using photo etch, I bet over the years I've probably spent £250-300 in tools.
Yeah.
However, it makes life, it takes away the fear factor of photo etch. Because it's like anything, isn't it? Not just in the hobby. If you've got the correct tool to do whatever it is you need to do,
Yeah, it's easier.
It's so much easier.
Yeah.
So much easier. But as we've all been guilty of, and I'm still guilty of, you see the new shiny kit.
Yeah.
And it's like £70. You're like, oh, I'll have that. And then you get it home, open the box, you're like, shit, I need this tool to do this. Or
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? And then you either make do with what you've got and make your life more complicated than it needs to be, or that goes in the stash, and then the next week you see another shiny new kit, and it's just a perpetuated cycle.
I talk to a lot of the shipbuilders because they saying that the shipbuilders are turning around and saying that they're hoping that the 3D resin overtakes photo etch, because you get, you know, like they were talking about like railings. Photo etch is flat, isn't it? It's flat, whereas 3D print resin is round.
Yeah.
And when you've got a ship, and I've seen it, and you know, I've seen it as well. You know, you go and look at this 1/200th Yamato or whatever, and they've had to use photo etch along the railings, and then you look up closely, the railings are flat when everybody knows that they're round.
Yes, two-dimensional versus
you know, and Nigel's put it, and that's my next point exactly. PE has its place, but sometimes it's designed without consideration of ease of use. And like it's, and I think it was Nigel who caught me out, you know, just caught me out, but, you know, revealed to me quite openly that it's a cheap way of adding an extra mark to a tooling.
That's
so,
true.
you know, and that's, you know, yeah. And as I said, you know, and I've been there it was like a cockpit set, and I had to bend the seat, make the curve, put the seat together. And when I looked at it, I thought, well, the plastic seat looks better because it's got that fatness to the seat. It looked too thin and 2D, folded 2D.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, talking about the shipbuilders and 3D printing resin and all that, that's going to come. There's no doubt about it. There are a few bits out there currently, but it's going to come. If you look at PE and 3D printed, so if you compare companies like Edward, It's World, that do photo etch details for cockpits, that's their thing. They do a lot of that. But then you compare that now to Quinta Studios. They're worlds apart, from ease of use, for the level of detail, from the overall finish of the piece. They're worlds apart. But for a long time, PE has been the only game in town.
Yeah.
But
Andy Wilson just made a comment. Mini art would make you bend the railing around the cat whisker to make it round.
And each railing would be individual.
No, it's basically like a Pontos set where you've got they've got, say, a ready use locker, for example. Instead of it being one piece with all the bits to bend up, it's 6 pieces for the box. You've got to stick them or solder them together.
Well, I think, like Nigel said, you know, they're often designed without real thought about not only how they're used, but actually what they're representing. I mean, I used to do a lot of 1/72nd scale German aircraft. If you look at a night fighter, quite a lot of companies used to do the night fighting radar, big German array radar in photo etch. But none of that's actually flat. You know, they're actually rods. And you know, some companies in like 48 scale stuff will use little turned brass rods, you know, of different diameters, which look fantastic. The 72nd scale, the flatness is too flat. And it's like, well, actually this is, and if you knock it, it bends, and it's difficult to bend back. You know, actually, you know, thin plastic rod, just scratch building it would actually be better. So, you know, it's like, why have they done that? It's just to put it on the box and say, oh, photo etch included. It's like, well, do it for the stuff that makes sense. You know, like seat belts, you know, the stuff that would be like that. Give us some utility.
So Nigel said he wasn't going to come in, and we talked about photo etch, and he's jumped on. Thank you for coming on, Nigel.
I wasn't going to come in because you had 9 people on already, and I think you can have 10.
Yeah.
Can
11 we can have, I think.
If I'd have
11.
come in, it would have made you all smaller.
Yeah, okay, mate.
Because Lexi went off, I thought
Yeah.
I'll come in. So
Fair enough, mate.
mine is good, but any more than that is
Yeah.
is bad. No, what gets me, like Alex just said, you know, when Edward do a 30-second scale undercarriage set, and they do the brake lines as photo etch, it just looks awful.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And ignition leads for radial engines as well. They look terrible. They're rubbish.
Yeah.
The thing is, that's so much more easily represented with wire.
Yeah.
Like either with lead wire or copper wire that you get yourself. It's easier, it's cheaper, it looks better. It's just like, so why have you given me this? Like, because you're like, right, Nigel, it's like a circle, isn't it? With all the like little bits. Yeah. It's a nightmare to actually even cut off the little thread. And then I've got to position it and glue it and then get each of those individual ones. And it's like, I could have just used bits of wire.
Yeah.
The only way to do it is to brush paint it with some thick, clear varnish, gloss, and that will give it a rounded front. And it does look a bit more realistic. But then I used to use the Fug radar stuff and that. I've just got some I reviewed from Gas Patch, 3D printed, and it's as brittle as hell. So it is photo etch bends, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there are. I mean, I did quite a bit of 3D printing. I have done, and there are flexible resins that you can add in. You know, but again, that's coming up with like the knowledge and the skill of the individual user. You know, so I actually have, you know, because I've got a high resolution 3D printer. You actually need kind of high resolution resin for it to get the best results. And then I mix in about 10% of this flexible. It's like Suraya Tech, tough and flexible or something. And that just gives a little bit of flex so that it still holds all the crisp detail. If you knock it, it doesn't just shatter. You know?
Right.
Because that's the problem with a lot of 3D printed stuff is it's really brittle. So you want it to have a little bit of give. Like a lot of cast resin is, because they've had a lot of time to be able to work with that. Yeah. So, you know, like the old Aries cockpit sets and stuff, you know, which were fantastic. You know? Now you have that access in 3D printing. But like Luke commented before and others have said, if you don't have the skill to produce the best results with it, then you're probably going to frustrate yourself, you know, more than anything.
And if you don't have the high res, you end up with all those bloody lines. I've got a £400 3D printed, well, part of it is 3D printed from KA Models, and it's bloody awful. It's like a file. It's terrible. It's rubbish.
How much was it? £400?
£400 for an aftermarket set, for a 200 scale kit. The Enterprise one is about 560. On top of the kit, which is 300.
You could buy a really good 3D printer and do all that yourself.
But I don't have the skill to be able to design the parts.
Yeah.
Then conversely, 3D printed resin, there's not a line on it.
Nice one.
So it, as Alex was saying, it's all down to the quality of the printer, the quality of the resin, and the ability and knowledge of the person using it.
Even the orientation of the part when you're printing it makes a massive difference. You know?
There's 3D printed parts in here, and they look like they're cast. They're stunning.
Yeah.
You know, I've got the air scale stuff is stunning, but this stuff from KA Models is shite.
Steens just said, I bought Tamiya's photo etch set for the 1350 Yamato, and in no way am I using that. Each pole is on its own with a small hole to thread the wire through. Quicker to draw up new railings in Fusion.
Just get on with it, Stian.
Keith saying the Border Models 135th Mogul wagon is beautiful kit, but the photo etch cell collector is trying, to say the least. Yeah, you know, but we talk about these things, you know, and it's so true, you know. I just don't see. Yeah, I agree. For, you know, seeing some lovely photo etch, some 3D resin wheels with Dunlop or Goodyear on the side.
Yeah,
does make you know, and it does pop, but it's all an added expense, you know, at the end of the day, isn't it? That if you know, but that's part of model kit building, I guess, at the end of the day. So,
and it's like anything, isn't it? Any new technology is expensive because it's new technology. But as time progresses, you know, if you go back, I wasn't in the hobby 30 years ago, but would you have been able to get a resin tire or wheel with Dunlop imprinted on it with no issues? You don't even have to sand it. Would you have been able to get that at the price you can get it at today? No. Probably not. So in 30 years' time, when this technology isn't new and it's developed and everything else, the cost starts to level out.
Yeah, I mean, if you think, I mean, I've got a few, far too many resin 3D printers, as some of you know. But I mean, the best of those, the quality that produces, you know, is like in the, I think it's 10 or 12 microns is the resolution of it, which is fantastic, right? You cannot see the lines. And with some software stuff, you can get it better than that. If you were to try and buy that printer 10 years ago, that would have been an industrial printer, and it would have cost you literally tens of thousands of pounds. And that thing was, you know, hundreds of pounds. You know? So it's come down a scale order of magnitude and some, you know, in 10 years.
Well, look at Moz. He's got what's it, £300 Humbrol printer, and he can't only can print tricks.
The only thing I didn't like about it, and I know Alex is going to disagree, years ago, when the likes of Aries and, you know, all your different companies making all these resin parts, you had a skilled modeler that sat there and with scraps of plastic card and bits of rod made a master. And then that master was cast, and then from that cast was made a mold, and, you know, and then other people bought that, and that was a skill. Proper skill from a master modeler. Now, every Tom, Dick, and Harry goes and gets himself a package, learns how to use it, and bangs out all this stuff. And it's like,
yeah, and I will disagree, Nigel, because if you know somebody who's just hacked something out in a piece of software printed out, it'll look just like somebody who just glued the bits of plastic together, you know, and didn't know what they were doing 20 years ago.
And I've seen that. And
there's a big difference in what, you know, people call themselves, you know, professional or professional quality creators, you know, and that's why you pay, right? That's why things like, there's a company called Cults 3D. There's a lot of 3D modelers sell their products on there, and they sell them not for a huge amount, but you might pay like, you know, £7 to £10 for like a set of, like a full set of interior nozzles for an F-15. I noticed John Alec nodding because he's built exactly the same ones that I did for the Tamiya one to then print. But the quality on them is astonishing, right? And that's why they sell them. If you go to Thingiverse and look for some free ones, you might get some low poly thing that is going to basically look worse than the kit part. So that's kind of the market economy, right? Is the talented people, whatever their talents are, you know, whether it's 3D modeling or whether it's physical modeling and then casting and stuff, will, you know, naturally rise to the top because people will buy a crap one and say, this is crap, leave a crap review, and they don't sell anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, so again, I refer to Stuart Goodsman, who's one of our admins. So he's a design engineer by trade. What he can do on CAD is unbelievable. It is a true professional skill set, because I've done it. I can talk to him via this sort of medium, even though he's only like 3 miles down the road. But I can talk and say, this is what I've got in mind. And the one that springs to mind, I wanted like an air brick for the Somalian T55 that I did for the building. Because if you look at Somali buildings, they can't afford air conditioning. They've all got these air bricks above the door. So I was telling him what I had in my mind's eye. and he was literally designing it on CAD as we were speaking. So I'm just telling him, I've not shown an image, anything. I'm just, and the thing's perfect. It's exact. That's a skill set. That is a skill set. So whether you're actually physically making a mold from bits of plastic card and rod or whatever, or you're doing it in the digital medium, it's still a skill set. Yeah. And I could fire up Tinkercad and try and do the same thing, and it would look like I fired up Tinkercad and tried to do the same thing. It's not going to look the same.
What I'm saying, Luke, is years ago you'd have a master modeler would make something that that would be cast that you could use in your model.
Mm-hmm.
These days you've got people with experience of CAD that aren't modelers designing stuff like 3D printed undercarriage legs for a 1/48 scale bomber. I'm not mentioning any names or companies or anything, but quite clearly there is no way any 3D printed resin is going to support the weight of that model.
No.
Mm-hmm. But I guess that's the same with everything. How many times have I heard people say, I bought this Aries cockpit, it doesn't fit? How many times? Loads of times.
You've got to carve the plastic away to make it fit, or sand the resin, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
I think there's a difference in having to make it fit. Is the difference between modeling and building a Tamiya kit. Whereas suitability, and I mean, I've got stuff here, again, not mentioning any names, but if you go and look at my channel, I've reviewed it recently. It comes from a company in Germany, and you literally cannot take it off of the fret without breaking it.
Yeah.
It is it's beautifully made and it's perfectly to scale, but the actual part is weaker than the post that is.
And that's again down to the skill of the designer, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Really
it's
is.
It's like a wings kit versus a hobby boss kit. One is designed by a modeler for a modeler, and the other one is designed by a guy sat on a computer.
Yeah.
But this has always been the case, right? Because I mean, if you've ever made a 1990s Dragon kit, which had beautiful detail, you know, I fairly recently built the Dragon Rockwell 190D. I think it's the D11, and the Tamiya as well. And the two have the same sort of levels of detail. They made it about the same time. The difference is the Tamiya one fits together, and that's it. You know, the Dragon one, some of the pieces feel like they were designed by different people who never met. You know, it's like, and you join them together. All this beautiful detail that is impressed in here, I'm going to lose from the 0.5 millimeter gap, or like you know, difference in the position of the parts that I've got to fix. So, you know, and that was using traditional techniques. You know, a guy who designed it, you know, or guys, people probably. You know, now the designers are using CAD. You know, companies like Airfix and Revell and ICM and all the others are using CAD people. They're not using physical designers anymore. There's not a machine shop where somebody turns all this out on lathes. It's all CNC. So, it's evolution, isn't it?
The question then: why, in the 1960s, did Monogram produce a whole load of bombers? Any American bomber you want to mention, they produced it in 77 or 48 scale, and they were all accurate and correct shape-wise and size-wise and dimensionally. And yet these days, we've got manufacturers like Trumpeter and Hobby Boss that just give us a load of crap.
Because it's not about the technology there. That's about the care the company is putting into their research and through the whole design process. It's like, now it's easier, not necessarily less expensive, to create a design and make easy to make a file and then put it to CNC, you know, no human interaction, do a few checks. Yeah, that all goes to the injection molding. That doesn't make it accurate. It doesn't mean that the span's right or it looks like right overall. That's down to somebody, you know, who has some knowledge, who's done the research. I think that's where, you know, people like Airfix and ICM kind of shine, you know, Tamiya, because they do the research. Tamiya has always had that sort of duty of care of wanting to create the most accurate things. You know, where did this box go, rather than here is a vague impression of an instrument panel. You know, it's got some dials on it. That's good enough. You know. So it's the duty of care of the company. That's what we're trusting them. That's what we're paying them for, isn't it? Other than the actual, physical bits, we're trusting them and relying on them to actually, take that care. And some of them don't, and the technology is immaterial, really.
Yeah,
it's interesting what Alex is saying there, Nigel, because a lot of the mistakes that Airfix made in the 60s and 70s was because they didn't have the correct blueprints, and they were just going off messages. And I mean, the CAC boomerang is an ideal example of that, because it's totally inaccurate. But the reason it was inaccurate because they went off the blueprint sent by the Australian Museum that had an example in their shed.
Yeah, you got the JS3 as well, the Joseph Stalin tank.
That's the same, yeah.
Absolutely doesn't, it doesn't even. But then again, it's a good little kit to build because it goes together quite nicely.
But if you
what if
the Airfix T34 that they did in 76 scale, it's the worst T34 kit I've ever seen, and it's because they worked off pictures rather than proper plans.
But it's like for me the B52 at 1/72 scale, by far, shape-wise, dimensionally, accuracy.
Gorgeous.
The B52 ever made is the 1968 Revell.
Yeah.
You've had AMT, which became Italeri, and that's a piece of shit. You've got the Model Collect kits, and they're awful.
Do you remember the Revell release of the space shuttle, what they did in 72nd scale?
The Revell one is awful. The monogram one is
the monogram one. The monogram one. That's the one I mean. The monogram one.
Yeah, the Revell one is awful.
Dreadful, yeah. But the monogram one is half decent, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
But you see, they had the subject matter there in the country that they're working from.
Can I just jump in here? Daryl Masters has said, I think what Nigel was saying is you could be fooled by buying resin undercarriage for the Zukimura BF109 versus buying a brass turned undercarriage because you know it will hold the weight. Is that right, Nigel? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the SAC stuff, I wouldn't bother with the white metal undercarriage. It's just a waste of time. But when you've got the model I'm talking about is the 1/48 scale B1B from Revell Monogram, which is a massive model.
Yeah,
the plastic undercarriage on that is at its limit of break-in. And there's a company out there that have developed a 3D printed undercarriage set for it, including undercarriage bays and undercarriage legs and wheels, and it's £300.
Wow.
For a set of wheels and undercarriage legs and bays, £300. If you go and look now at the undercarriage on a B1B, it's almost like it's designed to break, because you've got a main leg coming down here, and then it sort of comes off here at 90 degrees and then goes down. It's sort of designed to snap. I can't believe they can actually make that in any 3D printed resin and have it strong enough. Maybe Alex knows different.
I think you're right. I think it comes down to that. Sorry, John. I was just going to say, I think it comes down again to the same thing we were saying about photo-etch, right? A lot of companies can make, just because you can make a thing, it's the whole Jurassic Park thing, isn't it? Doesn't mean that you should.
Yeah.
I mean, some of that, I think you need to kind of take a responsibility as a modeler, a little bit, and make your own decision. Because if you think, if I see that Liechtenstein radar array in photo-etch, I'm going to be like, I don't think that looks very good. I'm not going to do that. If I'm building a 1/48 scale B1B, I'm going to be thinking about, I don't know how big that thing is going to be because I got the Airfix 1/72 one. And it's like, that's going to weigh a lot. So, resin isn't the best material for supporting weight unless it's chunky. So, if I was going to buy replacement stuff for it, I think I'd be like looking at metal, because anything else is a bit dumb,
Yeah.
Well, resin is brittle. Crumbs. I picked up a chair and I slipped off all the bits and it slipped out of my hand and it just just tapped the green board, where I cut me, and it snapped in two and a piece disappeared. Whoa, this is really brittle. I wasn't expecting that, because it looks harder than you think it is. You touch it and you think,
I've got that 148 scale B52, and what they do with that, they cast the undercarriage as one, because it's these huge legs that come out, and they put wire in it. They actually put metal wire in the mold and then cast the resin over the mold, over the wire, which is what I've done with my little LVG undercarriage set. But
that would be a brilliant use for PE, wouldn't it?
Sorry?
That would be a brilliant use for PE.
No, God, no.
No. You get two halves of an undercarriage leg and you splice a piece of PE through the middle as a piece, and then glue the two over.
That's just one piece, John. It's about this big. It's
like an A-frame.
52 undercarriage looks like. Again, it's designed to break, because as the undercarriage goes in, it turns into itself and then goes up.
Yeah.
Kind of, it comes round and then it comes out, and it's designed to snap. So what they do is they put wire in it.
Right.
Fair enough. Just going to point out that when you were talking about CAD and everything, and I thought that Airfix released vintage classic kits under the scope of age of when they first took on the company. Hornby took on Airfix. It's not. It's any kit that's pre-CAD.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what vintage classics are. See, I've been saying for years, when Hornby took on Airfix back in 1996, it was all, then anything pre them was all done by, vintage classic range when they re-released it. It's not.
1996, very basic.
In which case, get them to re-release a TSR2 and the
B1.
Yeah, there's a lot. The English Electric Lightning in 48 scale. Okay. We could have that.
I've got the TSR2 and I've got the Lightning.
I've got the Rockwell B1B up there, which I've got to review and I've got to build it because the tooling is in the Airfix factory.
Moss, you say this every single bloody.
I know. I will do it. I will start it this week.
I know somebody who does 3D printed resin undercarriage for
Moss has got a massive boner.
It would probably be he does the 72nd one. It's only 200 quid.
Yeah. Actually, saying that, somebody the other day put a post up about the Mosquito now being around £230 on eBay. Yeah, and they're saying, that's expensive for a 124 scale Airfix Mosquito. I promise you, if Airfix re-release that kit, it's going to, I don't think it'll be less.
That was me, Moss, who put that up.
Was that you? Was it?
199.99.
I don't think that'd be less for 200 quid. The amount of parts you get in that bad boy, it's a hell of a kit to build. So, but that's another one that I thought that the undercarriage would be weak on that, but apparently it's a solid undercarriage for that.
Because
of the undercart on that kit, though, isn't it?
It's because of its design. You've got it's like a Lancaster. You've got two practically vertical legs either side of the wheel, two practically 45-degree struts going back. It's whatever you make it out of, it's going to be very strong.
The undercart's built like a motorcycle front fork, isn't it?
Yes, kind of. Yes, John. Yeah, with an extra gusset going back.
That's right.
Michael Myers just put this. So I've got to put this up. Well, come on, where are you? The Kings, you jumping. I don't think there is any brilliant use for PE, and that's it. End of subject. I like that.
There is burning it with fire.
Yeah, pre-CAD sounds like we're going to
but you do need to anneal it. So.
Yeah, but I see that's one thing I've got to learn how to do properly is annealing, because I've tried it and I've melted the photo.
What are you annealing it with, Moss?
With a lighter.
Blowtorch. Some of the cheaper Chinese kits, even like Thunder models, even a cigarette lighter will just melt it straight away.
Yeah. There was a Thunder models I did, I think. It was a Thunder models that I used. But also, that's the problem with Edards, because it's all printed photo etch, you can't burnish, you can't do it, can you?
No. But
so why don't they do that before they put the bloody print on then?
Because by the time you get it, it will have gone back to its original state. And these
Really?
last forever.
You do it just until it turns rainbow, until you get that alabaster look to it, and then that's when it's done.
When it starts to go blue, hold it way above the flame, bring it down closer, and then get away. As soon as it starts to go red, get away.
Okay.
Yeah, you should blow a hole in it.
But there is a perfect use for PE. If you can imagine, you just built a Hummer or a Humvee, and it's got the gun on the roof, and you've got that armored shield around it. You ain't making that in plastic like you can with PE.
And grills or grates.
Yeah.
Yeah, grills.
So
Or meshes.
There's
somebody
out there at the moment that can replicate PE grates.
Can somebody query us? Because Brian's saying no, the undercarriage on the 124th Mozzie is as weak as anything. But I've known 5 or 6 people that have built that over the years, and they've said that the undercarriage is bloody brilliant.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
Terry had issues with his undercarriage, but then he'd done the complete and utterly insane thing of putting 2 motors in the sodding thing and seeing it.
Yeah.
And he
Then you got himself to blame then.
Yeah.
No, as I said, I see Celtic West is in the chat. Nice to see you, Celtic. I'll see you Thursday for a curry. We're going out for a curry on Thursday. Not just me and him, but others from the model club. We're going to have a curry together. Congratulations also, because he went to a model show on Saturday, Cornwall Way, and he got silver for his bus that he...
nice one.
Yeah, he's honestly, his figure painting is... I want to get him on. I want to try and get him on Airfix and Chill one night and talk about his figure painting, because he's done. Well, I've shown you the work on Airfix and Chill before. His Captain Dick Winters, Captain Dick Winters, is one of the best figurines I've ever seen. It's amazing, and he's done a brilliant Marilyn Monroe one as well, with the skirt blowing up as well. So
I must admit, some fondness for figure painting would be advantageous, wouldn't it?
I'd love to be able to figure paint.
I'd like to learn.
Always shy away from it.
We're gonna have to get him on here to teach us how to figure paint.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, he starts with blue.
Yeah.
Because our skin is blue, and and you don't even think of it, do you? He starts.
Apparently, black people's faces start with red, don't they?
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Can I just say, there's lots of people commenting in the comments. They're asking about the Cardiff show in January. I saw the guy, I assume he organises it, or he's one of the organisers. I saw him at Avon, and he asked if I was coming over in January to the next year. So that show is obviously on.
It is on, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to that. That's why I met Wayne Welly for the first time.
Nice.
Show. Yeah, it was good show, that. Farty Croc, Jedmad's Vigan undercarriage is 3D printed and tested to 2.5 kilograms without metal enforcement.
Bloody hell.
Wow.
But it all depends on the design. That's the thing. It's like a TSR2 undercarriage. It's naturally weak because of the way it's designed.
Yeah. The problem with designing aftermarket items is that the models from Hobby Boss are never correct to blueprints. See, I've heard on the grapevine, I don't buy Edard aftermarket very often. If it comes in a kit that I've bought, fair enough. But apparently it's going downhill a little bit, is what I've been hearing. Some of it doesn't even fit.
Yeah, I've had issues with it fitting. I've talked about it before, haven't I?
Yeah. That's it.
Yes, Nigel, we've had it before.
Just looked at Southwest MAFVA diary for 2025. Nothing in there for the Wales shows yet, but yeah, it will be there. They have got a Facebook page. If I find it, email me and I'll send it to you, because I think I met the same guy as you. There was 2 of them, lovely blokes. They said that they were going to be hosting it again. It's going to be bigger this year. They're going to have 2 rooms instead of that one big hall. But it was a great show, and it was good. There's definitely, it should be going on. There should be. So, do the Chinese companies have access to the research?
They don't care.
Google.
They don't care.
No.
They don't care.
What they tend to do is ask people on Temu to buy something off them, then they hack into the government computers that way, and then they get the information that they want.
Or they copy another company's scheme and use it as and use it for the what if scheme for their.
Yeah.
I mean, it really depends. Again, this goes back to what we were saying before about the duty of care that companies have. I mean, some Chinese companies are very good. I mean, look at Meng, look at Border, some of the kits that they do. Others, Hobby Boss, Trumpeter, a little bit more fast and loose with their accuracy. You know,
Hobby Boss, definitely. They're A26.
Hobby Boss is great.
Hobby Boss A26 is an absolute piece of shit.
That was what you really think, Nigel. Don't sugarcoat it.
Nigel, don't hold back.
Don't hold it back.
Don't hold it back at all. Just let it all out.
There is nothing right about it. Nothing.
Even the wings, they got 3 wings on it, is it, Nigel?
The wings.
Wings. It looks like a submarine.
It's got the wrong engines in it, and because it's got the wrong engines, they're too small. The nacelles are shaped wrong. The propellers are too small. The cockpit's wrong. The fuselage shape is wrong. The tail's all out. It's an absolute piece of shit.
Yeah.
It
doesn't
even look like an A26 when it's built.
I'm going to buy it and build it just to wind you up.
Yeah, I think we should do a group build. What do you think, guys?
I've seen one built up at a show, and the guy was really proud of it. I said, I got to be honest, I said, that kit is so inaccurate, but built up, it looks lovely, doesn't it? And I kind of walked away and like, oh dear.
Yeah.
I think it also depends on subject, right? So if you're looking at building a Chinese fighter, like a J10 or a J11 or something, or a PLA tank or something, they're probably more spot on than a Western manufacturer would be because they've got direct access to it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
If you're looking at an A10, probably not so much.
Kissing Bitch just said then, I'm getting the impression that the kit is wrong.
Just a bit.
Yeah. Nigel thinks it's not a very good kit.
Yeah, that's fine. And if Nigel says, to be fair, if Nigel says, because I wouldn't have had a clue, I would have built that thinking it was accurate because I wouldn't have a clue. I'm embarrassed to say it, I am, but I don't look at accuracies like that on stuff. But sometimes
there's a 3D print company in America that have done some improvement sets for it, and they've done a 3D printed fuselage center section, 3D printed engines, 3D printed cowls, 3D printed undercarriage wheels, cockpit, and nose.
Bloody hell!
And that's just about getting halfway there.
Yeah.
Yes. What original parts are left then?
Yeah.
So Daryl Masters is suggesting we buy this kit and send it to you, Nigel. About 20 of them.
I've got one. I had to buy one and do a review just to show you how shit it is.
The review's on Nigel's channel.
Let's review bombing.
Yeah, Bovington Tank Museum model show in a couple of weeks' time. It is. I will be there for that one, definitely.
I might have to pop down for that.
Yes, I love scale model shows that are held in hangars, or like the people knock the helicopter museum in Weston-super-Mare, and I do understand that it is like a graveyard and they just let things rot. I understand that criticism, but to me, I can walk through there and I can smell the helicopters. There's that, and same with Bovington Tank Museum. You can get that smell of the tracks have been rubbed against the. You know what I mean? It's that smell, and I love it. And I sit there, look around the models, and I've done that in an hour, and then I go off and look at all the other. All the tanks and APVs, it's great. It really is. So
it's really interesting stuff in that museum as well.
Yeah,
really.
What I didn't like was Yeovilton because it was so bloody dark, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is quite dark in there.
They don't do it there no more, do they? Yeovilton's gone, isn't it? But that was a shame. But I don't know the full story. I think Celtic West might know, but I think they were booted out, and they said, "That's all right, we'll do it at a school up the road." And the same people.
From what I understand, because obviously I'm quite near Yeovilton, got a lot of people that work there or do work there. Yeovilton, the management, basically were just like, "Yeah, we don't want to do this anymore." It's not,
Oh,
not
right.
what we want, for whatever reasons. And then I think after it stopped, they realised that was probably a mistake, and it actually did bring quite a lot of people in. I think there's been talk about it potentially getting back up, but I think they burnt a lot of bridges. So unfortunate.
Yeah,
It's
it was very.
interesting what you're saying, Nigel, about a really poor kit. Me and Moss have got what is probably the most inaccurate Spitfire I've ever seen. Moss has got a copy of it as well. We should send it to you, Nigel.
Yeah.
1/24 Part 9.
No. I don't know what scale it is because it's that bad.
Is it that British fighter plane?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's I'm trying to find it. I've got it here. There it is.
Yeah. It's awful. But then again, that other one, the Pegasus Hobbies ones, is wrong as well, isn't it? Yeah, that's the one. Even
That kit
the
is so
wing-
bad. Even the elliptical wings are on the front.
Yeah, yeah, it's awful. Yeah.
I
That was
actually,
like the Spitfire version of the MiG, the SU-37 Burkuk, with the forward swept wings.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. The worst I've ever bought was that Mac 2 VC10.
Yeah, you chucked that eventually, didn't you?
No.
It's the one he's going to send to Luke, who says there's no one building
Yeah.
it.
So, just out of asking, Nige, what was wrong with? Because I thought Mac 2 did some good kits.
Sorry?
Did Mac 2 not do good kits?
Keep it positive. It's the 100th episode. Positivity, guys.
They don't
Can
do
you
good
see?
kits, Mac 2.
Can you see the look on his face, Moss?
Yeah.
They'll tell you everything.
I'll tell you what, go into YouTube when you're finished tonight, go into YouTube and put in Mac 2 kit review.
Okay.
You will not believe your eyes.
The trouble is, Nigel threw that Mac 2 kit away.
Yeah.
And it's evolved and it's hiding in his garage.
No, it's not.
I do apologise. It's not Mac 2. I was sent a link for. I did that Airfix. Where was it? What have I done with it? This one here, the back 111. And
Nice
when you said that, there's a company that's just released. They've announced they're going to build one of these. Called, I thought it was Mac 2. It's not. It's Mark 1 models.
Yeah, have you seen their range? They've done a Trident VC 111. They've done a VC10.
Is this Mark 1? Is it?
No, you just took Mark 1.
Mark 1, yeah.
Absolutely stunning. The first when I saw that flash up last night on YouTube, Airfix should re-release this. I thought, nah, let Mark 1 do it.
Because it's a really good kit. It goes together.
Not a bad kit, yeah. It's not that bad.
It's not compared to the Mark 1. It's not
No,
good.
but
It's not accurate, but
it's 1960s cutting edge, Nigel.
Those. So am I. I'm 1960s cutting edge. Look at me. I'm
free card. So
Would
yeah,
Nigel be reboxed as the vintage classic?
that Mac. Those Mark 1. I think it's Mark 1 models. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stunning. They are. Have you seen one?
I just got shared it because I said, I'd like to see Airfix put this in the vintage classic range for $7.99. That's all I said. Right. So I think it's worth reboxing and getting, because I want the decals to do it again. But again, somebody sent me this, and I just thought, wow, it does look proper nice.
Yeah.
The box art. Do something like that, and it's got the British Midland, which is the original, which is the one that Airfix originally did. This one, no, British United. This one, sorry. So that was British United. That one's going to be British Midland, Jersey European, and Shannon. So so I think I must have flown on that with Jersey European Airways. I'm sure I must have done then if I'd done years ago. But I thought, that would be nice to build that. And if I want to build that one, because I haven't got the decals for it, that's the trouble. So, and when Airfix released that for $7.99 with fresh decals, or you pay £12, I've seen for decals for this kit, So, so they've done quite a few, have they, Nigel? These Mark 1 models.
Yeah, look about. I think they've done a VC10. They've done a Trident. I saw one at Telford last year, and it is the finest panel line detail I've ever seen.
Really?
A decent cut of primer would hide it.
Oh, Dan Air.
I've been on a Dan Air.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go, Dan Air. They do. There's 3 types they're doing. They said there's the Dan Air version, and they're doing this one here, which is London European, Bavaria German Air, and JAT. That's the 3 they're doing. Which is a shame. I don't think they've got a website. Maybe we've got a website you can look at. Let me know. But I would like to have
If
a
they
crack.
do them in Air Europe.
They were noisy bastards, Moss. Those aircraft.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
If you were sitting in back, I'm sure. Or did it not matter?
Oh, outside I'm on about, John.
Oh my gosh.
With a 747.
Should there be a hall of shame for model kits that are, as Nigel says, shite? Yeah, we could have a wall, like a wall of cool and a wall and it was shockingly shite.
Not that many, to be honest.
No. But yeah, that's what I'm tempted to build that one. Have a crack at that one as well, because I think it does. The box art is.
Mark 1 models have got 136 kits in their range.
Yeah. One of them's an Andover.
I'm looking at this now. I'm beginning to wonder if this is the company that did the VC10. It might be someone else.
No, I think it's somebody else.
Feeling
Mark 1 do an Andover, don't they? And an HS748.
Mm. But nobody's gone for sale yet, so I don't think you can go on their website. I suppose, can you? Have they got a website?
I don't know.
I'm just doing a bit of searching. I'll find something for you, Moss, and I'll let you know as soon as I can find it.
Yeah.
Roden. Oh dear, not Roden.
Yeah. I got one.
Does anybody know of a kit of the Rolls-Royce flying bedstead?
No.
I don't know one of that.
Because it came up in the comments of, I think it was the Belvedere video I did. And I was just like, I quite actually fancy doing one of those.
X scale Moss.
X scale, is it?
Yeah, X-scale.
And they do the VC10.
They did the Trident. No, Roden did the VC10.
Yeah. Do we want to go on? We want to find X scale, do we?
X scale. 1144. It's the most beautiful 144 scale kit I've ever seen. They've done a DC8. They've done a X scale kits, right? Okay. Hannets have got them. $35.99.
Is that the one here I've got on the screen? The DC8 by KLM?
Hang on. Well, yeah, that's a variant of it. There's another one, Swiss Air. The DC8 was the direct competitor to the Boeing 707.
Yeah, it was.
But they messed up. They were late delivery, so.
59 quid for a 144 scale plane.
$35.99 on Hannons.
Yeah. Something to look at in the future. Definite. X scale you're thinking of, Nigel. Okay. British Midland would have been local to me. Yeah. Spays with the Hush kit at Birmingham, not very hush.
Yeah. The BAC 111, I remember seeing them go out of Bristol. My God, they were loud.
The Airfix Steel 111 and 144. Yeah, that's what I was showing. That's the one that I've done the review on. But the decals are foobarred in there. But like I said, they went together. I've still got the tape around it, but yeah.
They're Ukrainian as well, X scale.
Well, that's what I mean. This what's it called? That Mark 1 is Czech Republic. Mark 1 is Czech Republic.
Right.
So
yeah. Looks nice.
I'll put a link in the I don't know how to do this.
In the private, put in the private chat.
I don't know how to do it, Moss.
On the right hand side, it'll say private chat on the right hand side.
Put a link in there, paste. There you go, X scale.
Right.
They got some beautiful box arts. I gotta be honest, they're some of the nicest box arts I've ever seen.
Yeah. Box art
looks really nice.
Oh wow, wow, crumbs.
They're lovely, aren't they?
Yeah.
As I say, I saw one of these at Telford.
Oh wow.
It's called the Trident, and my God, it was cool.
Electra. Oh,
That's a beautiful plane.
yeah.
That is, isn't it?
That's what they made the Orion out of, wasn't they?
Is that right?
The Electra, yeah.
Didn't know that.
Hmm.
Look at that BAE Trident there.
Yeah.
The Orion, is that one of those
Well, it's
AWACS planes?
Yeah, the AWACS.
Yeah, okay.
Well, no, it's what's it called? Yeah, it was an American military aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
The AWACS was based on a 707.
So the Orion is the American equivalent to the Nimrod.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the
amazing.
maritime one, isn't it?
Oh, the maritime. Yeah.
The P3 Orion is now the P8 Poseidon.
I'm not saying that I can't get over. So these are basically $26 each. That's £22 in English sterling.
$35.99 on eBay on Halland's. It's worth looking at PM Model Store in the Ukraine because I don't know how to manage it, but they have some stupid prices. Like you'll see stuff over here and it's 300 quid, and the same thing at PM Model Store is 150. And then they got 10% off this month as well.
Daryl Masters, what's that guy's name that does the designs for Airfix? He was there last year at Telford. Pramjit. There's Pramjit. It is. Can you get him on? Almost. Right. So I would like to, but like with a lot of the Airfix guys, it means doing like a lunchtime Airfix and chill. Because we've done them before. We've had Luke and we've had Ethan on doing Airfix and chill at lunchtime. Pramjit's got family issues. He's a very busy man with his family, and I could ask the question. If you ask, I know that you've got to go through Dale now. So if you want a modeler on or a designer on, you've got to speak to Dale when he authorizes it all. So yeah, I will try, but we'll see. We'll see.
I'm up for that.
I'd like to get Luke on as well from Revell at some point. On a chill one night, but he's developed, or even if his mate that was there doing the show, it's Avon. That's it's one of them really. We just have to when we've got time, we will try and get them on. But hobby time, I've got the Trident. Have you? I'm tempted on that Trident.
Yeah.
They're not. Both of them aren't bad.
Yeah.
For 26 quid though.
Yeah. That Electra, I might have to look that up.
Yeah,
well, in dollars, that's 30, in America, it's $31. So just hang on, you go bigger, can you? Can we go bigger with the?
I can go to my local hobby shop and spend $25 on an old AMT mold. You know what I mean? It's so for $32 for a kit here is.
I'm sorry, but I can't seem to get it to blow up. If I press command,
I wonder if they'll ever bring a Coronado out.
That looks nice.
Yeah, so I can't. It's as big as I can get it, folks. I've tried. Can't get it to go bigger.
You haven't got have you got a little magnifying glass with a plus on it?
No, I've kept it. They won't let me do it.
We can all look it up later. I mean, anyone who's interested. Yeah.
But look at the fuselage on there and the wings. It does look lovely.
Looks nice.
Yeah. Good shout, that Nigel. Good shout.
I'll have to.
What's that?
The X scale. I think that's a good shout.
You started me on it. You started talking about that Mark 1.
Yeah. Got to go, guys. Once again, congratulations on the 100th episode. See you. Thank you, Michael. Pleasure. Tech report have turned it off and on again. They've got one on his computer. But yeah, it's. I just thought that after looking at it and thinking, what can Airfix release for a vintage classic? I also said they should release their Comet as well, as I've had comments about this Comet that I did a review on. A lot of people saying it's highly accurate. for that.
It is. It's a nice kit. That.
Mm.
I thought you were on about the Comet airliner moth.
No, the Comet, that one there. That's another one I think they should put back in. A small kit. It's only the size of your palm of your hand.
Is that 1/72 scale?
72nd.
Yeah, 1/72. This one.
There's one coming.
There is there?
That's all I could say.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
One coming in. It's very, very, very nice. You'll see it first.
I know. There's a resin kit out, isn't there? Because what's he called? Reviewed it. Oh, I don't know what he's called now. Pete Oxley. He reviewed the resin kit one, and it's stunning, absolutely stunning.
72nd, 48.
One 48, and one of them 72nd scale.
Yeah, I've got the 48th one here.
Yeah, but they reckon that's a gorgeous kit. So yeah. Right, any questions from the chat here? If you've got any questions for us, keep us going for the next 10 minutes, that'd be good. Picked up the Airfix Arada 196 a couple of days ago. That would make a nice vintage classic.
Yeah,
got that up in my stash and have a look at that.
Yeah.
I've been up in the attic twice this week. One for a friend because he wanted a part from a Hasegawa F16 that I had a spare kit up in the stash. Gave it to him today. So yeah.
Do you think Airfix might be tempted to do a 24 scale Avenger?
No.
No.
You think it's too big?
Too American.
Yeah.
If they did,
we used it.
If they did, I'd have to pop off to the bathroom for 10 minutes.
I'll tell you what, it'd be popular.
That's something
really popular.
Gotta say.
I wish they'd do a 32nd scale Hellcat.
Yeah. I can imagine it, you're going to drop out a log because Airfix are releasing a 124 kit.
Benedito, that E3D, I don't think they'll re-release it because it's a Heller tooling.
Yeah, it's a Heller.
Yeah, it's a Heller.
But then Heller's announced, they announced it last year. There's a kit they're going to release this year, or it was going to be this year. It's going to be next year. I can't remember which one it was now. It was actually an Airfix tooling, and they're releasing it as their own. The bastards. Give it back to Airfix.
Say that again.
Is that the Jaguar?
Yeah, is it the Jag? Yeah, I think it's a Jag. It's an Airfix tooling. That.
Yeah, it is.
It was released firstly as Airfix, and now Heller are releasing it again, which I thought was a bit.
Daryl, if you go to, he's asking me a question there. If you go to eBay and you put in M1.5 tap, and then get to the company that's called, I could have their card here. Oh, what are they called? I'll message you, mate. I'll message you on Patreon with the company. I was looking the other night. They do sell all the taps you want. I'll tell you which ones to get.
There seems I couldn't get Easy Line, Stephen Potts, and I had to go to the dark side and get AKs super thin and thin. That's the only ones I'd be able to get hold of. I know.
I've got stuff here you could have had, boss.
I know that now. I knew that after you told me that after I bought the stuff. Yeah. What happened was.
What? No, come on Thursday.
Were they delivered by stormtroopers?
Is that Easy Line only for use on military vehicles from Germany? Because they do Easy Line only for use on British vehicles. They do Easy Line only for use on aircraft.
Yeah.
AK make me sick with that. Grey wash for German vehicles. Grey wash for English aircraft. It's grey wash. Like.
Yeah.
Nigel, you were using something that stays round instead of goes flat when you stretch it. What was that stuff called again? I'm sorry.
Model Caston.
Oh, I wrote it down. All right, yeah.
You did write it down. That's the third time you've asked, John.
Okay, well, prove it.
It's called Model Caston. You get it from Japan, and you should be paying about $12 a roll for it.
All right.
Benito De Vizio was using your influence with Airfix. Can you please have a word to get them produce 1/350th Royal Naval ships, including Next Generation being built now? They won't do it. I'll tell you why. I won't tell you why. But I know, and we all know that Pramjit, if they told do a ship, he'll be there because that's what he does. He's a shipman. That's what he built. He loves his frigates and ships.
They did the aircraft carrier, didn't they? I can't remember. Was it Illustrious?
Oh, Royal.
In 350th, and they also did
Royal.
that frigate, and they didn't sell well, and they got slacked off. Everybody moaned about that they were shit.
Yeah.
But they ain't gonna go back down that road, are they?
No.
Well, it's like the submarines. I reckon that submarine they announced, or the Trafalgar class, they should release them as starter sets because I think they are really, really easy to build.
Yeah.
And if you look at that now, they're 30, 40 quid on eBay. The price of them has rocketed. So, it will be, I think they should do the submarines in the starter set, but they won't because they're going to put them as starter sets. When they're designed for starters, there'll be starter sets. They're not going to pick things out and put them in. They're not doing that anymore. So yeah, it's one of them. But saying that, Audi, if you're going to Lidl this week, the Firefly and the Tiger ones, they're not these ones. They are the same, but they add different sprues to these versions. But the Tiger one and the Sherman Firefly in Lidl is the 2022 starter set tooling.
Can I just point out, for those people who go to Lidl, they won't be in there. Most of them won't be in there today because they won't have had the deliveries in for Sunday.
They didn't, did they?
No, none in Lidl today.
No, so it'll be Tuesday probably if you go and look. Yeah. But yeah, the Tiger One and the Sherman Firefly is the new starter set tooling. Yeah. So if you want to,
did your Tiger ones have interiors?
Yes, they did. I actually put a link up in case anybody else wanted to buy them because they've got loads in stock. So if you fancy going to buy one of those Tiger ones, I'll give you a link to it on the website. 28, was it 27 quid, 28 quid?
£27.19.
£27.19 at the moment. So that, and I've not seen them cheaper than 30 or 40 quid at the moment. A lot of scale model shops have got them at. Yeah, it's,
you know Hamleys in London.
Yeah.
Did you know they sell Airfix starter kits for $39.99?
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Really, yeah.
Yeah?
They're catching the US tourists.
Right.
You are joking me.
I'm not joking. A mate of mine went in about 3 months ago and he noticed, there's some Airfix kits in here. And I said, what have they got? And he says, I don't know, but they're 40 quid. And well, they're like, it was a starter set.
Is Hamley's still going?
Yeah.
I used to job these top floor Debenhams in Bristol, if anybody here remember it. That was my first job. I had a Saturday job in there.
How much are starter sets in Lidl now? They're about 6 quid, aren't they?
6, 7 quid, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, folks, it's 10 o'clock now. We've been on for 2 hours. Appreciate everybody joining us for our 100th anniversary. 100th episode. It's great. 2 years of it, man. 2 years. Just quickly before you go, I've got these made. If you have not seen them yet, I'll put them out. If you buy Outlaw Paints, we've got these cracking. I call them business cards, but I always think things have got to have a purpose. And basically, what you do is you fold them up, and they become these, and you can put these on your displays at home. So if you buy Outlaw Paints, we've got these in, obviously, and we're also chucking in. If you spend over 20 quid, we're chucking these in as well. So if you want one of these door hangers of Outlaw Paint on, we've got them on the website now. So those are a couple of things I've done. Remember, the channel members all get sent one of these, which is the Mod Models door hangers. So if you want to become a member and get one of them, give us a hookup. I've got an absolute pile of them going out this week. That's a whole load of them going out to the channel members so far.
If you're not a member, all you get is one of these.
Yeah, if you're not a member, you get a sticker. But I will chuck one of these in as well. But I think they're cool. I think they look pretty smart, actually. And I got a machine. I bought a tape measure and a double-sided tape, and I had to go through them all and put the double-sided tape on them. I didn't have to glue them, but they fold up really nice and to make one of these, so you can have them on your displays at home. When I first put them out, it's quite interesting because when I sent them out to people that I know, and they said, "Oh, send us 4 or 5. We're going to use them on our displays." I said, "Yeah, I'll send them out to you."
Yeah, they'll be on the display at Midway.
Yeah, you said as well, Luke. I've got
I'll
send you a few, so you can send them up to. Craig, have you sent? Craig, send me your email address. I know you've ordered from me this week. Email me your address. I'll send you them up because I know you've bought. Actually, you may have got the hangers. Did I? I think I sent you the outdoor hangers. I think because it came in last week.
Yeah, because Craig's bought the colours for his Yamato, hadn't he?
Yeah.
It's a proper little family thing. He's bought his Yamato off of me.
Yeah.
He's got things off of you.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. You got the sticker only. Email me, Craig, and I will personally send you, because you have bought Outlaw. I'll send you one of these up, and one of these. Okay. So.
Craig, if you've got one of my rudders, I'm sure you have. If not, I'll send you one up.
Yeah. But the other thing is I've got these rulers coming as well, which are going to look really cool. Proper outlaw paint rulers. So but we'll talk about that when they come. But they're pretty smart. Anyway, thanks all for joining us. Thank you, James, John, Luke, Alex, Nigel, Miss Modler, Fenris, Rorex. That was them, isn't it? Yeah, there was.
Yeah, and Sully in chat.
And Sully was in chat, but he couldn't be with us tonight because of family commitments. We won't be here next week because I'm going to see Tim Peake at the Great Hall in Exeter. I've been looking forward to it. I bought these tickets about 9 months ago, and that's going to really, massage my space penis, I guess.
It's Labor Day. It's a big holiday for us.
Space theme, the next one you see of Airfix and Chill.
Yeah, it'll be about 2 weeks' time, but I can't wait. I'm honestly, I can't wait for that Colonel. What's he called? Who sung in space?
What's
Tim Peake, the astronaut that went up to the space station. He's English. Is he the only British astronaut that's been?
Is he doing a presentation?
British astronaut has been on the ISS.
Yeah, he'd been on the ISS. I missed him the first time round. He did his tour, and I've got him on the second time round. So,
did he go on a space shuttle, or did he go up in one of the new ones?
He went in the Soyuz. He has there's no English astronauts that have gone up in Dragon yet, but he's gone up in the Soyuz. So I'm interested to speak to him about that, and that'd be good. Oh yeah, SpaceX Spacewalk this week, so I'll be watching that as well. I can't remember what the Colonel was called now. He's got a thing on Master on one of the I can't remember what he's called now. Oh, but Gary knew he was because I mentioned him in the Airfix Sprue Talk. I keep forgetting his name, but he was brilliant. Helen Sharman went to Mia. That's right. Yeah. Helen Sharman went to Mia, but she went on Discovery, didn't she?
No, she went on a Soyuz.
She went on a Soyuz as well, did she?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought she went up on the shuttle. Anyways, there'll be no more going up on the shuttle.
I'm sure a British woman went on a shuttle.
Yeah,
one British woman went on a shuttle.
Yeah.
No, it's the it's the guy. It's a British guy who's got American citizenship. I can't remember his name. He went to Mia.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a British teacher who went up in Challenger?
No, she wasn't British. She was American.
Sellers was another one.
Who was, sorry, James?
Piers Sellers.
Peter Sellers?
Piers.
I know, I heard you, man.
I think I saw that film.
Chris Hadfield is another one of my favourite astronauts. Yeah. But yeah, but you know me, I like space, don't I? I look up at nice. I've got the app on my phone now where I can see when the space station goes over my head. So, but anyway, yeah, thanks to Musk, he's going to bring them back as well, isn't he? Because Boeing failed again, didn't they? I'll tell you what. When I book my tickets, I love when it's an Airbus because on Boeing it just seems you've got to put your head between your legs and kiss your ass so goodbye when you go on one of them planes. Isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? I don't like Boeing. I really don't. I think
Boeing were the number one,
Yep.
and everybody else followed.
Yeah.
And then Boeing decided to start subbing all their work out to everyone else, and
Yeah.
then it started going.
Bit like Apple, Nigel.
Yeah.
Anyway, we finished now, Moss.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a great end. Let's not go down the Apple route because yeah, definitely. Cheers all, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. God bless you.
You guys.
Good night.
All right.